Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a live edition of CCXRC. We'll be with you in just a minute. Gonna give you guys some tips that I learned about the LMT, things about driving it, things about kind of what I found with the truck, things that you want to check over as you go, and that battery trick for strapping the battery in. That's kind of a key one. So we're gonna get right to that, and then I'll do a little bit of wrenching on it. I've got some things to do, and yeah, so we'll get to it in just a few minutes, guys. Those of you guys joining later, we'll give you a time code that you can jump to the beginning of the video where all of the talking starts. So, be with you in a minute.
You find me, hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sun rises, when the sun
What is going on, you guys? Welcome to the live edition of the Losi LMT. Some people are starting to get them in their hands, and so it seems like, you know, Friday's the big day. The stores are allowed to release them. We don't know if they're going to ship on Friday, if they're going to arrive on Friday yet. I know that the way that Horizon shipping works, it's possible that if they did ship them, still tomorrow, it could be in my hands by Friday. So I don't know. I haven't gotten a shipping slip yet. Usually they send an email saying they're coming. Haven't seen that yet. But Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year. Thanks for jumping in here, hanging out. We got some of you guys joining in already here in the comments. AZ Froggies, Kevin Mendez, Jane K. Noob, Trail Kidder. What's going on, guys? Scale Builder. J.O., I saw him in here for a minute. And Justin O'Neill. Tank RC, he was in here early. Anyway, guys, I want to get to some of the things that I've noticed about this, you know, straight away. We'll get into the tips and stuff first, and then go from there and let you guys know what I've learned in the past 2 months of driving this thing. Other than that, it's just an awesome machine. As far as RCs go, you know, I take a lot of them out there and I put them under abuse, and usually I come back limping at the end of the day with it, and this for the most part has not really been that way considering how much I've run it. I've had this go way more battery packs where it I just, you know, at the end of the day I just put it back in the garage, charge up a battery pack, and run it again tomorrow. So in that way it's just been amazing. Most of mine I end up having something I do or I need to, you know, tighten down, whatever. This, it's kind of one of those things where I've kind of seen how long I can go without touching parts until I have to. Because I know a lot of people will get it out of the box, have no experience with an RC, and that's kind of going to be their experience. So I like to put things through that kind of a test as well, while also beating it really hard as I give it that test. So that's what we've been doing to it. As something would break or come loose, we'd tighten it or whatever. But for the most part, there's only a few issues that I've seen with this truck. They aren't deal breakers. Still, you know, I've been watching a whole bunch of tractor reviews, guys. And, you know, they have like the things I hate about this, but I still think you should buy one kind of a thing, you know. And so that's what this is for me. It's like there's a couple things with this, quirks, that you need to know about. But other than that, just run them, guys. They're awesome. I'll also talk about a few aftermarket parts that I do have here on mine. As of now, I do have the Freestyle RC braces on here. These have worked awesome for me and just been really, really good. I'll put them in here closer so you can see. They just kind of ride underneath the axles here. These should be available in about 2 weeks or so. I talked to Josh from Freestyle RC today, and that's what he said. So that is something to know. These really do stiffen up the axle. I just went I think I counted 150 backflips. Not all of them landed in the last video that I posted. I've done some other stuff with it pre that and after that. And I've lost more hinge pins. So that's one of the things we'll talk about today. In fact, one of these wheels here in the front, this one, it's kind of flopping out, doesn't have a hinge pin. I'm working on temporary solutions for that even with a rivet. So we'll look at that today, what rivet I've used. It fits in there perfectly. It's the same basic length and everything, diameter, and it's got a little lip to keep it in. Takes a little bit of dremeling. I think I've said a little too much. But yeah, so that's a couple of the things. The axles have broken on me. Again, my fault in many ways, but it's something to know. If you don't land right doing flips or things like that, you one wheel really hard, it's possible it could break. And these really do help with that flex and keeping all those pieces together as one by bolting across both sides. I do also have here some from Jer RC that we're going to be putting on tonight. That's a little bit different take on it, and it's going to spread in between each side. There's 2 of them. They're 3D printed, but it looks like it should give it some strengthening capability as well, because it not only bolts to the underside, but it also bolts into this center piece in here as well. So these axles are 3-piece, 4-piece actually. There's the back whole side of it over here is one long case. Then the inside has 3 pieces, left, right, center. And so this brace goes into the lower links here. Where am I? Let's just go here. But it also bolts into this center piece on the back side where the diff is. So it's kind of neat how that works and spreads that. He gave them in blue so that you would see where they fit in and how they look. But when they're in black, they'd pretty much disappear and take on the shape of the front of the axle, that kind of tubular shape. So it's kind of cool. So we're going to test those as well. I love testing things, seeing how things work. But also, Freestyle RC has announced that they've got aluminum mounts to do tribute wheels on here. Jer RC also has some plastic ones, which he sent me, which I need to mount up onto some wheels to test out. I did order the Freestyle ones as well. The metal looks really good. And I like that it doesn't actually go on the hex, because these have 17mm hexes. Most of the monster truck tires are running 12mm hexes. And so they have come out with a, Losi has a 12mm adapter that just basically replaces the 12 or the 17mm hex. And then you can just drop one of the tribute wheels on here. 12mm are small hexes. You can get the J Concepts metal inserts to 12mm. But what I like about the Freestyle ones is that they literally just go right onto, you know how your hex has that little pin that it slides onto to keep it from spinning? Well, basically that whole adapter goes from the wheel, sits right on that, and so when you bolt it on, it bolts it right up there nice and tight. You don't have any chance for that little extra wobble you get from the hex adapter. So it's pretty cool. I don't know if you're commenting. I'm going to look here in just a second. Clayton delayed. Yes, we are running 3S in this, and it's just been absolute joy to run. Stickers have been talked about a lot again, but as you can see, mine is all brown anyway from dirt and scratching, and the stickers eventually just match the truck. The truck isn't looking super black anymore where those stickers are, and so it kind of just blends right in. I know that's been one sour point. It would be awesome. I mean, a lot of people get the black right. It's probably, I don't know, I mean, I hate to guess at what it is, but there's, you know, printers print CMYK. We do a lot of art RGB. Then it, like, interpolates that to CMYK for the printers and yada, yada, yada. Printing in print presses in color matching science is kind of a very complex thing. And we're doing this in COVID without the checks and balances that there are normally in place. Anyway, I know that's a sour point for some people, but the trucks are stinking rad, and I would just get over it. That's what I did. Just drive it. It's pretty awesome. And I mean, I ordered another one, guys. So yeah, those of you that want to say, well, yeah, you don't care because you got it for free. Well, guess what? I bought this one, and I bought a gravedigger, and I bought a roller. So I've got 3 of them coming that have been purchased. So the colors, it doesn't bother me. The trucks are just that good that I'm not worried about it. You do get some definite wobble in here. We'll show that a little bit different way here. Hopefully these angles are helping. I'm trying to get another camera in here, which is why I'm running late today. But there's definitely a shift in there. Things are loose. You get a little bit of twist, like I've said, as you drive. It does want to skate to the right a little bit. I'm wondering if changing out the tires will help that. I'm wondering a lot of things that might help that, so we'll see. I want to change out the servo on this as well, and the saver, and maybe even try no servo saver and just go straight on there. See if that will get rid of it. It does not have this stance, guys. One of the things that we do have to do on mine is these Kingpins. This is actually one of them, and I was lucky enough to find it, but I've lost several of them. In fact, I had a gravedigger truck and this one, and so far, from both the trucks, all I have left are 3 of them. So I've lost 5 completely. So that's a whole axle worth of them lost, and 1 other one. And actually, they sent me 3 more, so I've lost 8 of them in total. And we'll talk about that and why it's complicated and what we might try to do to remedy that as well. So there's some of that we're going to talk about today as we go through this. At some point, I'll get on the other side of the camera as we work on this. I think it'll be easier to navigate that way. Trash Can Ninja. So the J Concepts Tribute is not a direct fit. If you buy the 12 millimeter hexes, yes, it is. It'll directly fit on there with that, but not without it. So it does require buying a $12 part, I think is what they cost for the hexes. Because these are 17 millimeter hexes, which is awesome. We don't want to go away from that. Keep going with those bigger hexes, in my opinion, especially with big, heavy wheels like this. Loctite or CA glue, the pins in. That's what I'm thinking. Shugu is an option. They do have an indentation on them. It is to kind of where your screw will go in. It's supposed to hold it. But I think with all the bashing that I'm doing, and there's just so much, hitting on these wheels and just movement up here, that it's just loosening it enough that it's working its way out. And it really is when I notice that they come out is when I do like the side wheels and try and get it off the side wheels and back up. That's really when those things go flying. So that's something that I've noticed. I should also mention we do have a black market BRD chassis here for an SMT10 build that we're going to be doing. And so that's something to know about that we'll be working on. I have all the parts here. It's something that's coming. I have the original sticker bomb is going to, I think, go onto this potentially. We'll see. Sometimes I change my mind and go completely in a different direction. Maybe it'll be a Bigfoot. Josh Rose. Yes, this is what Son of a Digger looks like after freestyle. So tips. First tips. Let's get through the tips real quick so you guys know about this, and then I'll come out and we'll answer some of these questions because I see a good one about the Trio axles. Tips, really quick. We talked about the hinge pins. Check those. You have to take off a wheel. We'll get one of these out here. We'll do that at the end because we do have to take off a wheel to do it. But you will want to check those, especially when they come. One of the big tips and the things, again, I've seen people do it, is when they put the battery on, it is kind of awkward with this strap. As much as I love it, not knowing how to use it, it's kind of like, well, you know, here I'm sitting down, it's okay. But when you're standing over it and you're trying to reach behind and you're trying to pull this underneath and get it over this little strap, and you got a battery in here, 3S pulling on it, it's a little tricky, but it really isn't when I really figured it out. There's a very simple way, guys. My number one tip that'll save you a little bit of frustration is you can pinch this right here at the top. Get rid of this chat here for a second. Pinch this at the top. You're just going to pull it, and as you pull it, you don't even have to go from the back. You just pull, and you use your other finger to guide it right over that little knob. That's tip number one. That's going to really save you a headache of trying to figure out flipping the truck over. How do I get my hand? It's really tight in here if you got big hands like I do. How do I get my hand into this little space back here and pull that down? Don't pull it down. Squeeze the battery piece together, or I saw JER's maybe working on something that you can actually put in here to pull it with. But I just squeeze them together. It's kind of curved here, so they kind of flip up real nice. You can see it kind of pinches together into a thin piece. Just do that, and when you pull on it, you get enough slack that you just guide it over that notch with just one finger. It's super easy. Once I figured that out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. And for releasing it too, I just kind of grab these, pull, and it pops off instead of trying to reach under and undo it. So that's just something I learned myself and has been a huge help. What are other things? Okay, so, well, let's take off a wheel because we do need to see. And this probably is a good wheel right here to look at. We're right here. So I'm going to take this one off so you can see inside of here. And it is an 8mm wrench. You have little Verners. I keep hitting this thing and it's not turning off. There we go. Or maybe I'm just hitting it again. All right, so we're gonna wrench this off of here. RC next Tuesday, do you recommend it as a tough basher? I don't recommend it as a skate park basher necessarily. Not without an axle brace. So that's all I'll say about that. It's pretty tough. Pretty tough. All right. Lift this up so you guys can see here inside. One of the things that will happen when you get these, and it's happened to this one multiple times if you don't tighten it and Loctite it when you get it, is there's these little grub screws in here that hold your sway bar on. And so it just backs out and the sway bar pulls out. Really easy fix. It's not broken. It's like a 2mm. You just want to back those out when you get it. Put a little bit of Loctite on there and you're good to go. Put it back in, bite it down tight. You need to do that on all 4 of them just to make sure it's done. Again, you don't lose anything when it happens, but it's just a pain when you're out there bashing, especially if you don't have a tool with you. So that's kind of one of the main things that I've found as when you get this. The other thing is the Kingpin is right here. Inside of this little piece is where your screw is for that Kingpin. So you can see I've lost both of them on this axle. Sorry guys, I can't see any comments right now because the son of a digger thing is blocking it. Maybe I can get them on my phone. But yeah, so our student tech next Tuesday, I don't really recommend this as a huge basher, but we've sent it. We've backflipped it off of the wooden ramps and all that. As you can see, it does have that huge 17mm hex, which is why it doesn't just work right away with other types of wheels, unless there's 17mm hex. So again, there's a couple options for that. I have them right here. Actually, I was going to put them on the son of a digger ones. And these come from JER, who's here in the chat. And these will allow you to get into that sunflower patterned, whatever you want to call it, piece on the tribute wheel. And it'll bolt into here. And then this will fit right on over that 17 millimeter hex on here. So just got to push on there. It's a nice snug fit, and that would allow you to run the tribute wheels by bolting them onto this. I think though we'll have to check. There's really tight clearances as it is for these. For racing, you can't be more than 16 inches wide. And just looking at that on this hex, it may or may not fit within those rules. So we'll have to do a test with it. But other than that, it'll do the job if you're just out bashing. So for racing, we'll have to take a look and see. But these look good. His print quality on his 3D printer is really good. Way better than any of mine were ever dialed in. It does have that sideways motor, which does help with the torque twist, so it's a little different. Like I said, it's kind of that drift that it gets. What I've done here, hold on, we'll get in a little closer if we can. Zoom it in. You guys gonna get up, move in. And now will it focus over there? Refind it, there we go. Nope, hold it. You wanna hold that focus. All right, so we're a little tighter there. So I do have right here the Kingpin basically fix or solution that I've kind of come up with, which is a, where's the baggie for it? Over here somewhere. I don't know where it is. It's a rivet, basically. So I'll get the numbers on it, but it is something if somebody loses them, it fits in here directly. And the only thing I've got to do is put a little notch in here, a flat spot for that set screw, because it's a perfect slide and fit there, and will hold it perfectly. So then I just have to grab my 2mm wrench and come in here and tighten down this screw that's backed out. And even so, I'm screwing it and it's just spinning. It's not biting in at all. So what I need to do, I think, well, it seems to be getting there pretty good, is just put a little dab of glue right here at the top. I don't want to go lower because I want it to spin in between the two, but I want it to hold into this top piece. So I've got some glue here. We'll be the guinea pigs with this test. My CA glue is just too watery, and I think it'll gum everything up. I do have this ultra gel control here I could use. I'll just try this to hold it in, and we'll see how long that'll go. Put a dab on it. Both sides there at the top. So make some people cringe, I know. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So that'll allow it, the glue will stay up here at the top, allow it to spin in the bottom part, but hopefully hold that in. What I should do is just try a different screw, bigger maybe in size, and try and thread it in there to get a little bite, but I've stripped it out apparently, and I think that's probably what my problem really is. So I've lost some top and bottom here. So I've got another one already done. You guys won't be able to see it. But I'm gonna just put a dab of glue on here, right at the top. Try and hold it in place. Enough that it'll hold it, but I can also hopefully get it back out of here if I need to. But yeah, that screw, when I screw it in, it is not tightening and biting down at all on there. And that is going to just come down to the abuse that has been given, is my guess. So where does Tony put his tools? 2-time Tony. Got to do it all 2 times. Yeah, it's just free spinning in here. Will it back out? It backs out. It's like it's not long enough. It's got a cap head or whatever on it. And so it's going in all the way, but that's just not far enough. It needs to be longer, I think, is the problem. So just check that, you guys. And then just order 3 sets of Kingpins. That's what I did. Once I realized there's going to be a problem, I just ordered a bunch. So there may not be any left for you guys because I basically took out stock in Kingpins. But I'll be honest, this is going to work. I'm looking at it, and it's in there. It's going to work. Right on the top there, you can see that silver piece. That's going to do it. All right, let's see what some of your questions are. So those are some of the tips. The other tip is that the Freestyle RC servo saver does fit directly on the front. You do have to flip your servo so that the horn goes on this side and it goes straight over and it mounts right here. So you get a little bit longer screw over, direct onto here. I had my other one that way, but my other one is off and not here. So you want to know that. Definitely check these. If you got one now, I would just put, even if on that top little flange part, I'd put just a dab of glue or shoe glue. You can still pry it off if you need to. Get a knife under it and just kind of pop it and it'll come out. But they're going to come out. So you might as well do what you can to remedy that. So, yeah, so that's this one. I do have to still do the other side. Trying to think of what else. So that's available. Shocks are available. Not shocks. The axle braces are available now from JER and from. They're available now from JER. He's got the molds for them already for the axles. They're going on here. In fact, let's just leave this wheel off. We'll take the other one off and we'll do the front one while we're on here tonight. But I'll fix that other Kingpin plus the remaining one I will take out, and I'm going to put some glue on it just so I don't lose it. All right, so questions. Are parts still scarce for these trucks? Yes, parts aren't available until the truck releases. So that was Winsler Frog. If people asked questions earlier, now's the chance to re-ask them. As I'm working on this, I'll be watching that. Tom Andrews says, order from LMT from Horizon. Order is still not shipped. It usually only takes 2 days for their shipping to arrive. They're right in the middle of the country, so I'm figuring that my shipping over on the East Coast is the same as the West Coast. I could be wrong. But it's pretty good about being 2-day FedEx for me. So I'm just wondering if that'll be what we'll be seeing is that maybe they'll drop tomorrow. I know that they're available on the 8th, and that was what the hobby shops are doing. I don't know if they get them first, and then they'll do them to everybody else. From what I understood, they were trying to get it released to everybody at the same time. So, I don't know. Can this work out of the box without using Spectrum Smart batteries? That's always a great question. Yes, they can. You just cut off the battery ends here or get an adapter to an EC5 connector. So where is it now? It's over here. I zoomed in. It's messing everything up. So it comes with this connector. If you get an adapter, it'll work. It doesn't have to be smart. You can literally cut this guy right off. It doesn't really do power or anything. So you can cut that gray wire right down if you want. Put on XT90s, whatever you want. 130 amp ESC. These things are awesome. You can, if you want to do more moonwalks and stuff like that. I've been trying to leave mine in kind of normal mode because I do like brake instead of just instant reverse. But you can program this for instant reverse. I know that there's some people that had questions about that, and yes, that is one of the first setting you can adjust is for those settings. And it'll be easier for you to do that trick to the moonwalk. Shen RC, Steve says, Tony, what if you can see glue a strong tiny needle magnet next to the shaft on the side of the plastic? That would work, potentially. More random questions. What wheels work with the Proline Destroyer tires? Because Brawlers have been discontinued. Not sure about that. I've squeezed them onto the J Concept stuff before, mainly with the 2.2s. Hobby shops are getting them. Yes, they're not supposed to release them until Friday. Some of them are doing that. We'll see if there's any repercussions for that. It's kind of a funny thing, like big box stores and all that can understand a release date and holding things, you know. Think about the video games. Everybody's lined up waiting for that game day release, or a movie trying to hit the midnight release or something because it's dropping at that time. You know, there's so fewer hobby shops than there are those big stores that, you know how to do that. It's just kind of odd to me, but whatever. I don't know. I'm one of those kind of rule guys. I like things to go smoothly and according to plan, have order to them. So it kind of drives me crazy. So, Happy New Year, RC Tanks and Trucks 24/7's in the house. Landon, you could use Traxxas plugs if you want. You just have to get an adapter or convert it. Yeah, Out of Control shirts did come in. These are new shirts that we have available for you in the store. They can get to on our website, which is over here, through our YouTube page. If you just click on our name, or actually below the videos, you can see the Out of Control shirt. We just added another one to the Teespring. It's not going up yet on our page here, but if you click on into our Teespring store, they couldn't find it. Way to go, Teespring. There it is. This is the new one. Can they find it on their own site? Yes, they can. Man, they really want me to do something. These are the new Smoke and Motor shirts. Goes with my crawler, pulling sled theme. So you'll be seeing more Smoke and Motor stuff. If I do a pull truck, an actual dedicated pull truck, I know that Freestyle RC has one, their Everest. I might be tempted to make a Smoke and Motors truck. Kaiser Test RC says mine's in the mail already, but he's not going to rat out his hobby shop. I don't care. I just know people have been posting them. I'm like, ooh, don't say where you got it. I didn't see that, Blue Dooley. How much power did Hemistorm say it can take? I think it can take a ton of power. It's got too much power almost, in my opinion, out of the box if you set it up on 3S. It wheelies for days, which for a solid axle truck's just insane. It gets a little bit out of control. You have to do a little bit of stability stuff to it. I mean, I've got wear on my arms. I've beat this thing up. If you actually look at the links, how much it's taken is crazy. Yeah, mine aren't in the mail yet. I got them coming in from Horizon as well on the pre-order, because they said if you ordered it by a certain date, you'd be sure to get them in the first batch. So I was at the wire. I was just ordering spare parts, but then after Matthew Hall and Joshua Sanford came over and the trucks got just really beat, I was like, I think I want new ones. We're doing the YouTube thing. We're testing these for you guys. But I think I want new ones for my use ones. So yeah. You could do 4S with a bigger system in here if you wanted to. It'll fit. I don't know why you'd want to unless you want to rip wheels off. I mean, these tires aren't made, most of the wheels and tires out there aren't made for it. People are going to do stupid stuff with this. I can't believe the wheels and tire combinations people put onto stuff, from the laser nut to whatever, you name it. I look at it and I shake my head like, what? That just, one, looks dumb. Two, whatever. I won't go into it. But yeah, I mean, if you want to stick with like scale stuff, I mean, maybe if you do that, you could do some like Warner slime tricks where it's just like insane flips and all that. You could do that in 4S. He's got his beefed up though. I mean, those custom axles he made, there ain't nothing out there like it. Closest is probably the Freestyle RC axles that are aluminum and square and beefy. So, but at that you'll be breaking links, These links are pretty durable. I don't know what would give here if you put better axles on here. I don't know what the next give point would be because these axles and these rod ends are huge on here. But I think it could do it. I think he's right. I don't think he'd want to do it. People aren't going to use these how they're intended to be. It's coming, so. Biggest, baddest battery you can put in here. 3S 100C, I don't know, whatever will fit normal size 5,000 mAh hard case. You could go bigger if it's taller, not longer, unless you trim out the back. But even that won't really work because of the way that it straps in. How fast can you get this going? I think we did a speed test and it did 35 miles an hour out of the box on, I think it was about 35 with the 3S battery, 100C. And that was faster than I wanted to be going with it, honestly. I use the power for correcting in the air and getting into flip and things like that. I don't typically use it for just straight out speed. If that's what you want this truck for, get something else. Honestly, it's going to be a lot more than you can handle. You have to tape the insides of the tires, do a whole lot to get it working at that kind of speed. You'll be ripping glue out and who knows what. All right, G's Green RC. Is their body made with Velcro so you can crash parts of the body hanging off? Freestyle RC's done that. I have plans to do that to my ZRD so that the hood will fly off separate from the main part of the chassis. But yeah, it's just about Velcroing it on. What's going on, Chris? So I've got both these off. I need to adjust that camera again, because if we're gonna do work, it's too far over here for me to do it. I need to tilt it or turn it over this way more. So give me a second and we'll put on those other axle braces, starting with the front ones, show you guys how they fit. Do something like that, I think will work. Give myself a little lead room there. That'll work. I'll keep watching the questions and talking as we're going. Kaiser says, yeah, I'm slowing down after this LMT. I do a lot of speed run car stuff, but I bash too. Yeah, you know, these are just kind of more of a, they're more fun when the more scale you try to go with them, in my opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but that's how I feel about it. I'm actually, I think, going to take the body off of here, the cage and everything, so that it's a little easier to work on. So I'm going to get my drill. I've got now all the drill bit pieces I need, which I'm super thankful for. The 1.5 missing before was awful. So basically there's 2 screws on here that'll allow me to just remove this. Makes it real easy when you do want to work on it like this. So 2 mil. Nice long screw in there. Nice. And then the other side here. This MIP bit is toast. It is not working well. The 2 mil I think is probably at the end of life on this ball one. It's just stripping all the time. Oh, actually there's 4. I lied. Oh, I did the wrong 2, that's why. Not paying attention. It's these bigger 2 here. These are not. These are 2.5s. So I'll have to put those back on. So they're right at this big hinge here. In the wheelie bar. And then we'll be down to the chassis of it, which if you guys do want to run other bodies, we'll show you that too, what you'll need to really do. It's pretty much cut it off here. None of this is really used for anything except for bracing. So if you just cut this back, you'd be able to run pretty much any of the bodies on the market right now. I do recommend, if you have the opportunity, to go ahead and put some shoe goo and some tape up under here to hold that together, because it does take a beating, especially if you are doing moonwalks. That pull on those really is brutal, especially after you've hit a tree with it and all the stuff that Matthew Hall did on the front end of it when the lights came out of it. But yeah, they're saying it's so nice in person. You really do got to see it in person. They're just awesomely built trucks. One of the better built RCs that I've actually had the joy of working on that's ready to run. It's screwed in here. Yeah, so it was only 2, but it was the 2 bigger ones that I had not grabbed. All right. Yeah, it's thin, but actually I think the thinness allows it to be flexible. Sometimes they get so thick that they crack instead of flex. All right, so we just glued these guys in here. They seem to be doing it pretty good still. We've got to remove a few things on here to get this axle ready to receive. These from these are the final prototypes of these from JER. Hey Carla Gelvin, what's going on? So switch. Kind of see how that's worked out. This will go on the underside, and this will go in on the diff casing right here. It'll be easier to see when we get this off of here. So how much do I want to break this down? we definitely have to take the links off. It's the wrong way. Hot Hoopty says he's got his, can't run it because of the rain. That's a bummer, man. Make sure you check those grubs on the sway bars for sure. I really do like how these freestyle ones did work. And from the bottom you can see them, but really from other angles they really kind of disappear. They're not that noticeable. I know some people thought that they were going to be super visible, but they really disappear. Chris is selling a few RCs. That's cool, man. You gotta try and put it toward this. I get that. These are sweet rigs. So I do have some other news to share. I'm not going to share it yet. It might be well, maybe I will. We'll see. It depends how much I run out of talking, things to talk about. It's the one with the first Kais. I know Earl Moorhead has one already as well. He's got a great channel. He had some issues with the binding on his. Yeah, so this is how the Freestyle RC one works. And this will be going on one of the new trucks that I get. We'll get these put on before I even drive it at all. Straight on. You saw how easy that was. Outside screws. Basically 3 screws per link in order to get in there. You take this one out so you can get to the 2 that hold it into the axle. So you remove the links, you can get to it. It's going to take a little bit more for the JER one, because it's also going to go into the centerpiece here. Still not very hard to do. Still pretty easy. So, and it's just going to make it have this strengthening points here and here to keep it from jamming, and it's wedged right up on this inside here. That's going to keep it from wanting to flex in, which is really the problem. We're seeing some cracking even on the top here. If you guys can see that. There's a little hole right there. So focus on me. I don't know why, but anyway, there's a little, you have to trust me, a little crack triangle out right there just from this flexing and hitting there. So it's going to take removing 4 screws, and he does give us the replacements right here that we're going to use. All right. Let me see how I can get in here. I got to pull this off. This is snug. Tony Kaiser says, you have a podcast, how you run out of things to talk about for RC. That's how I run out of things. I feel like I've already said it, so I don't say it again. There's a lot of talk. In fact, we'll get the next thing ready here on that I have coming for this as well. So we do have this. Gonna wait for this to load. Man, that is a snug fit, man. Jason, you got this thing with some good clearances. It's basically holding on to this little fin that's right in here on this axle as a strengthening point that they have built in, and it's just kind of holding on to it, which is great. I just need to let go for a second so I can take it off and do it right. There we go. So I have in here 2 more screws to get to. This would be where it's better for me to be on the other side of the camera, so you guys could see this. So I spin around. Shade Tree says he stayed away from these because of wrenching. This one is a lot tougher. We haven't taken anything in the middle apart. Have none. So it's pretty cool. So basically we're going to take out these couple screws here. Don't even need to take it all the way apart. Just need to get these out enough. I didn't bring my toothbrush. Should get it. That this will slide in here. Cover right over all this. Get it underneath that other link mount. That's what I had to do. Now we're good. That'll pull in. So that should work. I think these are going to go back to, no, there's still 2 5s. So same size, just a little bit longer for the extra plastic. Here's a 2 mil. Yep, 2 mil, I was wrong. I'm not going to over tighten this because we'll go back in with a hand driver and do it the rest of the way. Trying to work over the top for you guys. Go in here. Get these mounted up, give them a good test for you. They are clean. Very clean fit. Wow. Yeah, so once we tighten this in here, it's not going to want to flex. Looks like I might need to might be a little shaving that needed to be done on that. I'll test this one real quick. And looks the same. I think I'm going to shave just the littlest bit off the edge of it so it'll sit in there. But I'm guessing that screwing it'll actually pull it together. We can do a quick test here and see if that assumption is correct. It's just such a tight fit, which you want, which is why I'm not willing to shave it yet. I'm gonna see if that'll snug in. Looks like it did. Yeah. That's nice. So imagine this blue piece in black. Let me bring it over there and hold it up to the camera. It just disappears into the axle with the design. So that would be contoured right in if it was a black one. But the blue is to give the contrast so you guys can see how it mounts in there. Pretty slick. Pretty slick as well. Hey Bryce, what's going on? Hey Scott McClendon, what's going on, man? CISO 1, where can you find this? Servo Saver? I use the Freestyle RC servo savers at freestylrc.com. I have this is actually my other setup here for the servo. So it literally fits on this side and goes right over to this axle point. Whoops. This side. So you go the opposite way and it goes directly here. Now, of course, it's all tucked in. If it's sitting, this is the top now. You can see how perfect that is. Directly bolts into the axle. This is like straight up and down by the time you do it. Look at that. So that's the Freestyle RC Servo Saver. And these things are on pretty much all my monster trucks. And whenever they become available, because they sell out so quick, I usually buy 2 more for whatever else I'm about to build. They just work really, really well. However, I will say that this servo saver has worked really, really good. The servo itself is slow. It eventually moves the wheels where they need to go, but it's not the fastest thing you've ever seen. Yeah, Mikey broke his on V2 Vids because it was stupid cold and he cased it. So that's a believable one. That one that I had, I really do believe it was a worn in and it was a demo part early on. Alright, so we'll show you guys one more time how this goes in here. Super easy. We're not removing a whole lot to do it. Wheels come off and a few screws. If you're not talking and jibber jabbing like I am, you can be done with this job in probably 10 minutes or less. Those come off. Wish I had my... So what you do have to do is there's this bottom part for the sway bars, actually. I thought it was the links, but it's a sway bar. You do have to sneak this up underneath it and in there. But you can see how it's got this little gap here that fits right over this little support brace. Kind of locks it in, but you got to get this in and under first. But you can get it in there. Man, that fits like a glove. What I thought was sticking up is not really. It's just that these axles taper, and that's what I was trying to say wasn't fitting in. So it actually is a tight fit. So there we go. So these are blue. Again, these are for demonstration purposes, showing the axles, how they are. So I'll be testing these one on this. This truck is still running great. And I do have the zero toe on the rear now. I put the other adapters on, primarily because it's all that what I had left when I rebuilt the 2 axles at the same time. That's what I used in order to finish 2 sets and have a spare ready. And that spare set is what I'm still running now. So, go figure. But I haven't really noticed that much difference in what I'm doing. Alright. So I do have some cool news coming. If it all pans out, it should. it's in the works already. So you should be seeing the CCX RC track getting back into some form here in the backyard, which I'm excited about. Yeah, it does come with body mounts, which are in this little case here that you can use to mount other bodies. Or if you get the roller edition, it comes with these plastic pieces that you see on the sides here, so you can actually measure it and mount to these the cage, which is pretty cool. So, all right, so now we need this front one. Like this. Put the back ones on backward or reverse. I've not had any other issues with this truck. None of the diffs are clicking. Everything in the drivetrain is stinking unbelievable, which is why I'm excited about what Trio is releasing, and hopefully we'll see some other ones I've heard about that may be in the works as well. But right here, and they've lowered the price on them too. So they were originally selling them for $200 per axle. They're now going to be $168 per axle, which for metal axles isn't super bad. That's no internals, of course, right? You understand that. You got to use the ones from the truck. But they've got them in silver or in black. These are the front. They come with a 5-degree toe in on them. So I believe that's what it is. So just a little bit of that tilt in with the wheels, but they look really good. They're 70-75 aluminum and they're CNC billet. So these are the fronts, and then here are the rears. Also 168. These are shipping on January 8th, so they're on the ball. They're getting them out there. They've increased the bearing sizes in them, and those bearings come with it as well in that 168 price point. So it's a bit spendy, but we'll see what happens, how well the clearances and tolerances are in them, if it saves the snapping. But I think there's other things, like I think these and I think the JER ones here are going to also really help address that issue. So they're not that much heavier, so it's not really a concern with weight. It's really just if you want to spend the dough, or if you want to go with a little bit more inexpensive solution, because these are supposed to be, you know, pretty much able to race out of the box. And I would say that they are ready to race out of the box. I would say that they may not be ready for big air skate park bashing kind of stuff that we were doing with them, basically. And even some of the overkill on the freestyle that I've been doing with it, it's, you know, it's really testing the limits of them. And I understood that, but I wanted to do it. I want the truck to do certain things, so you know, at that point you got to build it. You got to invest a little more if you want it to. But you can always cheat little things like we did with the Kingpins. I also bought some galvanized 3-inch nails that are the same size, but I didn't really want to deal with the grinding and the problems you can have with galvanized metal and the fumes and all that. So, Bryce, it's going good, man. We're just doing a live here, messing with this LMT, which I think is one of the most fun monster trucks to get out there and bash with. What have I gone and did? Ah, here we go. So we'll get this one all lined up, and then I do have the other prototypes. I should have put these ones on the rear, honestly, now that I think about it, because the spare ones would have been better up front. But I don't want to be Tony Two-Time, as JMRC calls me, where I always do things twice. I have to do put it together, take it apart, do it again. Gosh, I feel like half the time. Got one more J Concepts vehicle to show you guys here, hopefully this coming weekend. I'm not able to get out. It's just too wet, too rainy. We're not getting the soft sand that we need to really show off the paddle tires. So in order to not get wet sand all inside the vehicle, I've just opted not to at this point run it because it won't operate like it should in the sand, and it'll just make it a beast to clean when it didn't really show the capabilities of it. And I don't think they want me to do a water crossing with it. Be a bit much. Come on, get in there. This is tight. I get it. Not really. Just need to adjust this now. Come on now. It's painful to watch, I'm sure. Hey Bryce, I see you, man. That you do, JMRC says. Day is going pretty well so far. Antonio, that's what they used to call me. Hey, Antonio. There, finally. Get that right angle, it finally just goes. So if you put it together like I do, it's more of like a 20-minute per axle deal. But people were also saying things about the suspension not seeming very much suspension, but these trucks come in like a droop kind of setup, like a real truck. And so if you can't just go by where it's sitting and push down and say, oh, it doesn't have much, because it's really when it lifts off the ground, when you jump it, that's when that suspension gives you that rest of that travel. There's quite a bit of suspension travel in these things if you really lift it up. So, but you can see it sit back down. Anyway, that's just something to know. There is suspension, pretty good suspension in this thing. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the front tires back on. Make sure I do them the right way. Don't want to do them twice. Used to get that one as a kid, shade tree. Yeah, we've been working hard, Bryce. So much stuff to get done. So many things that people have requested that they want to see or want to send to have something done with. And, you know, it's not my full-time job doing this, so it's tough. I try and do as much as I can. I'm not much of a no person. I like to help out when I can, but I have to learn to say no a little more. I just can't get it all done. Not enough time in a day. And I've still got a whole mud truck build I need to do with the SMT10 I have and a King Sling. There we go. Now it's sitting. Now my shocks need to be rebuilt. These shocks are actually really nice in this. Something to talk about. So if you have any issue with your shock, you may just take them apart, check your pistons, stuff like that. But Should be good. So this is going into my bin here of, this is all my, whoops, that's not it. That's the wrong one. I have an axle bin because I've also ordered some parts, pre-ordered some parts that I'm putting into do forced steer on one of these trucks. So be ready for that. Yeah, Chuck, I can imagine, man. Ian was brutal when we were kids, too. Jane K, I'm not going to get that TA Team Associated stock car. What I probably will get is another Losi car. That is the Mini B. I don't have the Mini B. Drove one of them up at the track the other day on my birthday. Some guys let me try it out, and it was awesome. So they have the brushless system in it. So I really would like to get one of those because it was so cool. Is the name of the Servo Saver 3-cell or did I? It's Freestyle RC, like the freestyle competition. Those are what I use. That's who also makes these axle braces. And he also, today, if you haven't seen them, they just announced them. I will pull that up now. I can actually show you the page. Going to it now, Freestyle RC. All right, so here's the page. And if you go down, there's LMT Losi Monster Truck. And these are available now. You can see how these mount. Blow up. So you basically do a delete of the hex, and then you have this metal adapter, and that goes right onto that pin. And then your nut will literally cinch it down on there. So Cecil, here it is, man. It is the, where's the servo saver? It's right here. There's home, chassis, axles, transmission, servo saver, the fourth one down. So they've got the few things coming. They've got a lower link 4-link kit, axle braces, wheel hexes, different things that are coming for this truck. So be on the lookout. But going back to these, you can see how they just kind of bolt in, because that's how J Concepts does their hex adapters. They bolt in, so if you happen to round one out, you can replace them. And so these just go straight on. And it keeps it within that 16-inch width that you have to have for the wheels. Whoop, double tap. What's going on, John Wayne? So I don't know if they're in stock or not. Did I look? Were they in stock? They're sold out, actually. They're $45 when they're in stock. Last time they came in stock, I ordered 2 sets to go onto these trucks. One of the other things that I didn't mention as a tip is putting the body on. You got to be very careful with the battery lead and the wires for the lights, because they do pinch into these little holes. Let's see here. Right here on the side where the body mounts in. So you just got to watch that. And the other thing that you probably want to do is either put some tape up here or cut a nitro tubing and tape it onto here, or zip tie it with 2 spots here, because this metal edge will cut through your headlights and you will lose your headlights. So either do that or put some kind of protection over the wire themselves on the underside of the body, but something to ease the blow of this sharp metal when you land hard, and it just pushes the body right into that wire. So, you've been warned. If you're still around. If you're not still around, it's your own fault. Can't blame me. I tried to tell you. Yeah, see, these are inside out. The I don't know what I'm looking at. I mean, they should follow the contour of the right here. This angle should follow the contour of the axle. They don't. It was one of those things where I'm jibber jabbering. Chris Watson, it should fit if, did you order a really long one? Or are you planning to cut the chassis? Or do you want it to fit on the cage? Getting it to fit on the cage is definitely more difficult. You're digging the other grave diggers I got? I do have quite a few of them. My favorite's my grandma digger truck. However, something is coming in the mail for me tomorrow. Got some axle stuff going on. I got the Trio ones on order, but I've got the Shapeways J Concept ones. Last time we spoke on the live, I wasn't sure I was going to do it. I was camping. It wasn't that long ago. And it's happening. They arrive tomorrow. Shapeways, I didn't pay for it overnight, but they're overnighting them for whatever reason. Maybe because they saw how much they cost and they realized we don't want to risk these being broken and shipping. They're more careful with overnight stuff. I don't know. All right, so we're back to the same process here. I really do need to redo these shocks in the front. I need more spring for doing the moonwalks too, so I need a little bit more spring in the rear. These things are just blowed out from all the the abuse I've given them. Okay. They have it as an option. All right, there you go, Chris. Well, then hopefully they know what they're talking about. They also can't seem to decide whether it's an 8th scale or a 10th scale. As a race company, I get it. Losi is saying it's 8th scale because it's 8th scale parts, which would make sense. However, scale-wise to the trucks, it's more like the 10th scale that everybody else is running, so it's kind of confusing, which has led to everybody wondering what scale the truck is and where does it fit in our racing and all of that. But I've shown it's pretty much the same size as an SMT10. Going on double clutch. We're just putting on some, we're going to test out some other axle braces, see how they do with this. Luckily, I've ordered a whole bunch of axle cases. So, if things go south, I've got another set. Or 2 or 3 coming. I think I have 3 cases, 4 cases, I don't know. I might have 4 cases coming. As a just-in-case kind of thing. I actually don't want to take the other side out because I don't want this to come apart. So I'm only going to do 2 of them for the time being. And then, oh, I can't install the spares because I don't have the screws. Or do I? I should. I got lots of parts. We're gonna cheat. We're gonna cheat. we can make it work. Just need it to be longer, but not by that much. Okay, maybe by that much. I don't know. See, those aren't the same. Somehow that wall lifted. And now my screws are mixed. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Perfect, perfect. Sorry for this delay. Rhino or blue one? $17 tooth opinion recommended for the SMT10. I don't have a recommendation for 17T. I don't rock that many 17Ts. Maybe somebody else can help you there. Mine, I just went brushless with them. If you can get a cheap brushless, that's what I would recommend. Yeah, these are a nice, perfect, snug fit too, so we'll just go with that. I do 12T, unless you have to do 17T. Is it a race rule? $17.5 or something you have to do. Sorry, responding to Ben. That worked. That worked great. As long as that spins, it does spin freely. Oh, pinion, sorry. It's pretty good stock. Yeah, the blue does look pretty cool with this, especially with the son of a digger. Some people want to keep that scale looking axle though. I wonder if there'll be options to get it in green or blue. So I haven't shown it yet. We'll go over and see. Freestyle RC or Jer RC has been whipping up some chassis designs, which are pretty slick. So going back to this being like this, I call these the wings here. It's a 3-part chassis on each side, so it's technically 6 parts. These literally just bolt on here to the center chassis. There's 3 bolts that bolted on these wings that come off the side here. See if we can get in closer. So yeah, so basically you've got 1, 2, 3, and these wings then come off, and they basically hold the shocks, sway bars, things like that. And then they bolt into your battery tray and hold certain things like that. So what he's done is he's created, come back to the wide side, a chassis that comes and is shorter so you can fit more of the bodies on it that are already available. But it goes up and it does like a monster truck style shape cage for the full thing. So instead of tucking in here and whatever, or having like the plastic cage, the whole thing's a metal cage. And it keeps the center bracket in here so that all of this doesn't have to be removed. You literally will take off these pieces and then you can bolt it all back together with that chassis. So let me see, I can pull that up on Facebook here for you guys to see that. It's pretty slick. And he's also got a truck based one as well. My internet's running real slow here. Let's go back to Facebook. Say Jer RC. And here it is. So right here at the top, you can see it with the two designs. And these, this is actually the full one. So he has two options. One is a bolt-on, but these are full. I believe his full design on this one. No, this top one is definitely the bolt-on. So he does have two options. We'll cut to it and show you. So this one here is the full. It doesn't have that. I don't want to video because I can get slapped like what happened to Tank. We don't want that to happen on accident. So let's see if there's a picture of it. Also has these stands here. Wish I have one for my Clodbuster. The trio axles. So he's been posting. Here we go. So here you can see a little bit better. It's not zooming in for there. And so it's been redone in order to get rid of that center piece and just be two solid plates. Anywho, Happy New Year, CJ. All right, so basically this one is now, we were talking about how that whole chassis worked. So that's kind of what he's been working on designing, and also these axle braces. So I need to stick on this other one while I have it here. Ah, I should have pulled out 4 of those screws that were the right length. Shoot. Oh well. We'll be all right. We'll find one. But 35, everyone's saying, man, I just hit 42. Good old 42. I don't know of anything that happens at 42 actually, but we're rocking it. Happy enough about it. Can't change it, so it's got to get older. Let's see, what can we get? There we go, that'll do. There's 2. Yeah, 2 more is what I need. All right, focused. Focus there for a minute. Wow, I missed a lot of comments. Bryce, my name's Tony. I just saw that. Question. So what do you guys got going for the new year? How many of you in there, by show of hands, ordered up a LMT. We know Kaiser tested. Shade tree, I used to be cool. I hear that. I feel so old now when I'm like, young whippersnappers and they're so cool. Hot hoopty. Bling Internet. So retail, these are $600. The roller versions are $399, so $400. So the thing is, these come brushless ready, metal axles, 8-scale diffs. They're kind of next level for this style of truck, basically. These really are clean. I will give Jason that. These do fit in here so tight. I mean, he's got them measured perfectly in here. And so if these work, I could see a lot of people getting these that want to have kind of an invisible brace. Doesn't add a lot of weight. The carbon fiber ones don't either. Making sure I don't over tighten things. You can't really see the plate underneath it tighten down when you're tightening this down. Guessing it should all be good. Just don't over tighten it. I like that. I dig it. All right, so this time we're getting it right. We're matching the contour of the axles. Not gonna be that guy again. Getting it all wrong. But I mean, I don't think people will be disappointed. I mean, a few will be. You just can't help it. There's just people that are disappointed all the time about stuff and look for things to go wrong or just don't use things the right way and then complain about it not taking a crash at 100 miles an hour or whatever. But yeah, these are in here real nice. They just tuck right in there, kind of disappear. Now, the one thing I know that some people don't like is it does change the geometry a little bit of the truck. So your shock geometry and all of that because of the extra, and that's both sets, whether it's these ones or the Freestyle RC ones, because they go between this carrier, the link carrier, and the axle. That's adding a couple millimeters and changing the geometry of how it all handles, which was done probably to precision standards, but we'll see how noticeable it is, or if it is noticeable. It's making this a little bit tricky to line up, so it does change some angles for sure. But I think for the most part, it's not going to be too bad. I can't actually line that up until I get this in. I do like that they've kind of, what seems like dummy-proofed this, that the drive shafts only fit one way when they're in line. Well, that's not true, I forced it on. There. So when it easily goes on and moves, they're in phase. So that's nice. So a little bit of the way that those are done makes it so that it only lines up one way, which is good. What do you guys think is going to be a surprise for this year, or a surprise with these trucks, or anything like that? Do you guys actually think there's going to be a Max T? New drag car. Oh yeah, from Losi. That's coming, don't we? They've teased it. Even in that group, they've teased it. The Losi Motorsports Tour. I still want a 5th scale monster truck, solid axle from them. They were asking questions, seeing if there's, gauging the market, I feel like. But even if they are gauging the market, it takes a while for them to go from that to design to implementation. So, not get my hopes up for anything too soon. Got careful not to overtighten these because it does lift that axle and it might actually cause a break point the way that these are done. Kind of wish it was a little bit thicker where these do screw in. Maybe that's just me. In the axle side of it. Oh, that one went in easy. Yeah, Tom Mintz did complain it had the wrong body, but Tom Mintz would complain about that anyway. If he's going to find one thing wrong with it, it would be that it's in basically his rival's skin. So, I don't know. Does it mean that they're going to come out with one for him, or does it just mean that he was giving kind of a joking dig that, okay, it's awesome, but it could be improved? It basically is the joke, I guess. All right, so new axle braces on. Something's locking that up. Those screws too tight, too long. Ooh, something doesn't feel good. In the front, it's not in the rear. All right. Try loosening these a little bit. This is over tightened. Huh. What did we do? Well, it's very possible that when I put those kingpins in that the axle wasn't in right. That one spins all right. That axle probably wasn't seated in there properly. Go ahead and just put these rears back on. Well, the pins, shouldn't be an issue, but I think when I put it on, I I was busy talking and I didn't actually make sure that that drive shaft was seated in the axle properly. That's a possibility that it's just kind of free floating in there. Anything's a possibility. Yeah, Kaiser man rips it. Gets super fast speeds. I think it was Jack, Phantom's Guest or RC Reactivated, that got me following Kaiser's stuff. I just backed out the screws. I don't think that's it. And those should clear, the ones that go around the diff. The ones that are on the carriers are, I mean, they weren't extended even though we put a gap in there. Put in a, not a gap, but well, I'll get to see how removable these Kingpins are with glue on them. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure I just, this was the side that was all the way off, both of them. And so I was pulling it all the way off to show. And I'm going to guess that it's just not. Let's see here. All right, so it still popped out. Still locked even with those pulled, so it's gotta be that that shaft isn't in there right. Now we're working. You just go ahead and put this wheel on and see. Yep, that was it. Easy diagnosis. Now I gotta get that to come off. Yeah, see, locked it again. So gotta keep that drive shaft. I'm just going to put these in, test it, and then glue them. Seems to work. So we're going to try this a little bit different way. We're just going to lift this a little, put a bead of glue around there. So just working a bead of glue right in here, so it'll squish down on top. Right on. So I feel like the screws aren't long enough. They're not even pushing against this, and I haven't even done a notch in it, so weird. Yeah. Getting my rivet on. cool if it was even a little longer and actually just riveted on there. Of course, then you'd be in a lot of trouble if it broke. So that's it, guys. A couple of tips, going over them again. Check your sway bar. Make sure that those grub screws are in there and Loctited, because they will slide out. Again, it's doing the same thing as these Kingpins, where that grub screw is pinching on that little piece of metal, wire, whatever you want to call it, and it just from factory seems to slip. You see the amount of wobble in here. See about finding a way to maybe, I could see one thing. So these are starting to get a little loose in there. That'd be one little adjustment I can make here easily. Just tighten that up. But check that, then check the Kingpin screws. Make sure those are in there good. See if I can get rid of some of this wobble. Mine's just, it's been used so much I've never tightened anything down yet. It's unbelievable how well this thing has stayed together for me, considering what we've done. All right. Still have that wobble. Oh, in fact, this sway bar is loose. It's moving in and out of that. It's not wanting to come all the way out, but it's loose. So we're going to back this out. The nice thing is you can get to these things without actually removing the wheel. So you can actually back this out. I'm not even going to go all the way out. I'm just going to do it enough to get in there with my thread lock. And it's not wanting to give me any thread lock. Need a really, really thin something. Trying to find those little 0.05 or whatever they are bits and see if it'll poke in. Nope. Whale still got thread lock. Here we go. Old school one. It says blue, but it's green. Venom Duo is a great charger. Yep. I really like my smart chargers, but I run smart batteries. It's just so simplistic. I charge almost everything at 10 to 12 amps now with those. It does it, it takes it. Yeah, all of these are loose again. So I'm just gonna go in here and loosen them. Thread lock them. See ya, Tom Andrews. But yeah, so check these, because as I'm finding now, they're loose. They come loose. Just something to kind of check over. The battery trick, don't forget that. Squeeze it together. That one's good. And this one's still nice and tight too. Just gonna go ahead and crank them in and just make sure they're still tight. Yep. I actually honestly think I've only Loctited the ones on this truck that came loose on me. Just in that moment because we were bashing. But when you get it, when I get my new ones, I'm going to go ahead and Loctite them all and get it ready. But again, that battery trick is something to know as a little tip. Just squeeze these together and pull, and then you just push from the top here and just align it, and it'll snap it right in. Don't be reaching around under here trying to get at it. Just pull from the top, get that little slack, and then just use your other finger to guide it. You can go right from the top, guide it in. So that's the other little trick. You can set your ESC to go instant reverse if you're trying to do the moonwalks and stuff. You don't have to. You can get the pop. If you do a good enough backflip, you brake in the air, still let it hit and bounce, and then slam on reverse, and it switches to reverse faster than most ESCs, which I like. That's probably from all those backflips and digging that this front end is just super soft. But I still have the pop in the back, which is what I want. And then the front end is soft and soaks stuff up. These land really good for a solid axle truck. You're going to love it for that. Axle braces, they're available. They are also, you can order either the 12mm hexes if you want to run your tribute wheels, or you can get the Freestyle RC tribute adapters, which we just showed on here. That's something else to look at. So Freestyle is going to have those, and they're going to have the axle braces here out of carbon fiber that just go underneath. And then they also are going to have that little tribute wheel adapter. It's not really a hex, it's a hex delete. Works really well. And then Jer RC has one that basically is a tribute adapter. It's 3D printed, but it'll go right to the 17mm hex. You don't have to step down to a 12mm. You can leave the hexes that are on it on. So those two sites are something to look at if you're looking for some aftermarket stuff that's currently being announced and made up for these things. So there's stuff coming already, guys. I think that you're going to see so much come to the market for these things this year. It's going to be insane. People are going to be innovating for it. I can't wait to see all the stuff that becomes available. I'm not really innovative in that kind of way. I just kind of put things on that people tell me to and test them and tune what I've got, run it how it is, learn how to drive it as it is, that kind of stuff. So I appreciate the people who come up with new ideas that are awesome and take them to another level. So again, that's not really me so much, but I do appreciate it. Get this last piece done of our puzzle, screw this back together, and get ready to call it a night. See if RC Guy Garage is still live. Go hang out in the chat there. See you, Anthony. Johnny Davis. It'll be a little faster. It'll definitely have a little bit more initial punch. It all depends on, well, I guess it depends on what electronics you're running too. If you really get a benefit of the extra power. There's a lot at play. I don't usually see a huge jump. As you go higher speed stuff, speed testing, you'll get a little bit more punch, but yeah. Thanks, Tank. Thanks, J&K Noob. Yeah, you always want a higher C if it's from a reputable company. Some play the C game. Some some ESCs and stuff, it won't even matter depending on the car you have. So it doesn't hurt to go bigger. But if you don't need to spend the money because your car can't really benefit from it, then I don't notice a huge jump between 100C and 50C. I see more jump in a high voltage battery at 100C, that's for sure, but it's higher voltage too. So, but other than that, like my 50C to 100C and buggies and stuff, I don't really, other than that initial little punch, but I don't see the top end or stuff like that so much. It's up to you. I mean, depends if you're bashing or going for top speed. If you're going for top speed, you want every little bit. But if you're just bashing a Creighton 6S and you want to do flips and stuff, negligible. Yeah, you'll burn up your battery faster, higher C potentially. Not burn it up faster, but go through it faster because it is discharging at a higher rate. It's giving more power. So it really depends what you want it to do. My bashers, I run a lot of 50C. Made it. Barely. Oh, crud. Where's this go? Shoot. Somewhere I got a little Ziploc bag of these screws. Somewhere. Yeah, most of those 6S cars call for and ask for 50C or higher. JMRC drag racing is where you see it. Yeah, because you need that initial punch of it. You need that quick off the line power. I notice it with my buggy, depending on the course layout, if you have to really break into a corner and then have a jump immediately out of it that you have to ramp up speed really fast for. I see it there, typically. That's what I'm like, oh my gosh, I can, and part of that too is whether it's a new or fresh battery as well. Like, I can tell when my battery's not fresh. Even though they say lipos, you know, don't lose power. You know, it's more constant until the end, but I still feel that little loss. A little bit of loss. Yeah, Traxxas are 25 to 30C, but again, everybody rates theirs a little bit different. It's like the scales of a truck. What's really 10 scale, what's really 8 scale, and what are you basing your size on? Are you basing it on the diff size, what's like an 8 scale diff, or are you basing it on like compared to what a real truck is? And it just gets really confusing. Unfortunately, they haven't come up with a consistent way of measuring, and it's really frustrating. It's also frustrating that there's not like a consistent battery. Like, I thought XT60s was becoming the Deans, like that's the new normal, but then it's like, nope. Some are doing Deans still, some are doing XT60, XT90, IC5, EC5, or IC5, IC3, and pretty much all the stuff now from Horizon. So that's a huge amount of vehicles running that. And then you've got Traxxas doing the Traxxas stuff, and it's all over. It's like when memory cards first came out, before like SD became like what most people used, or micro SD. You had compact flash and that, but those were usually able to be used in any camera that you'd come across. You know, is either compact flash or SD. Except Sony. Sony only used their memory stick, and no other camera was allowed to use their memory stick in theirs. And that's kind of where we're going, unfortunately, with some of them. Burners. It's going to be a little flat, though. Yeah, the anti-spark are nice. All right, we've been going about 2 hours. I'm not able to push through like Guy is able to. So not a 4 hour or 3 hour kind of stuff very often. 2 hours is pretty much about max. But we've been working on this way longer than I needed to for what it was. It's really a 20-minute job. What I took an hour to do, talking and whatever, trying to stop and look at comments and look stuff up online. But I highly recommend this truck to anybody that is into monster trucks. Anybody that just wants a fun dasher. I like the Clodbuster lineup because you don't have to have a lot of space. You don't really even have to have jumps. You can just kind of bounce off of things and it'd be all right. This same way, you can do wheelies. You can find a little something to give you a little bit of air, and they're just fun the way that they react and they land, and just they're so much fun. So yeah, I could recommend this to just about any person that's wanting to get into an RC. And just, you know, the price is what kind of is a little bit of a deterrent as like maybe your first RC car. You know, you might start with something lower, but somebody that's been in and wants something that's just a really awesome, fun, well-built, well-designed truck, and you're not going to be stupid with it like me, you shouldn't have to worry about a whole lot with this thing, because the diffs in it, it's got that like cush drive in it where it's got that little elastomer thing inside of, instead of a slipper that just takes the impact and all of that and keeps you from destroying your gears and your transmission and all of that. It's just unreal what they've done here. So kudos to Losi, Kevin Hitmansky, Chris Higa, everybody involved with this thing. It's really, really stellar. Anyway, guys, I am leaving you to go over to RC Guy Garage and hang out. Also, RC Amigos is on usually late tonight, so I think about now, midnight our time, 9 his time. Taco About RC, like go, not taco, Taco About RC, and he's on. So really, really like him, really cool guy. Met him over on Instagram and did the Slay Smash and all that kind of stuff. So go check it out, guys. Anyway, thanks for tuning in as you do, and we'll be back at you hopefully with this in a new package and a Gravedigger and a roller. So not sure what we're going to do with the roller. I tend to just put the same electronics in it because they're so great, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have fun RCing. We'll catch you next time.